All right, so I watched The Boys season 4, episode 4. This was a pretty great episode. Probably the best season of or episode of the season thus far. I like the theme surrounding the whole episode. It was about everybody being confronted with their pasts or like actively going to confront their pasts. You had like Homelander going back to his laboratory or whatever and torturing the scientists, which honestly kind of deserved. Like the director lady at some point, she's like, this is beneath you, okay? These guys are like small. Or like you're isn't it kind of small for you to torture humans? And she was all like, don't torture them. They didn't know what they're innocent. They were scared. They didn't want to do what they were doing. But it's like I feel like that excuse doesn't really work because like first of all, they probably could have quit, right? And like signed the non-disclosure form. Like I'm pretty sure that would have been an option for them. But also, like we've seen in past seasons that it's not like they were handling the situation with care. You know, like they could have tried to have been as loving as possible to Homelander, even if they were terrified of him. Like he was still a child. So at the end of the day, like when you take into account the things that they did to him, I can't feel bad for that your dick got lasered off. Okay, I can't feel bad that you were like baked in the oven, so to speak. I don't know. Like I don't. I kind of don't. Because not only that, like they created Homelander, right? Not only did they like actually create Homelander, but they straight up like molded him into the man child that he has become, right? So these are the real villains of the show, and they've been taken out. You know what I mean? But yeah, then we also get like Starlight is confronted with her past, right? She kind of created Firecracker in a way when she embarrassed her, and so it all kind of came to a head where Firecracker talked about how she blinded somebody when she saved her first person or whatever. Which, I mean, obviously that's bad, but like that wouldn't. I feel like that's not that big of a deal, right? I'm sorry, like it is a big deal and it sucks, but like I don't think that would have necessarily ruined her reputation. But then she hit him with the fucking abortion thing, which is pretty messed up, probably to do to somebody. Like obviously, abortions are very contentious. My personal opinion, probably don't need to add this in here. I don't know why I have to make my video divisive, actually, but I don't know. I'm of the opinion. Here's the thing. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna give people a nugget to think about. If you're ever at the point where you think it's okay to kill a baby, like if you think the thing inside of the belly is actually a baby and you're just okay with killing it, it's kind of messed up. I feel like the actual discussion should be around at what point does it become like an actual human being that's like worth that's worth that has a life worth preserving. Because once it reaches that stage and you think it is a baby, probably shouldn't kill it. I don't know. I don't. But hey. You can let me know your thoughts in the comments, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. Probably still kind of a messed up thing to do to just like air out her dirty business into the public. But yeah, and then Starlight gets big mad. She goes out, pummels her to death or whatever, or not to death, but almost to death. But then Mother's Milk comes out and he's like, "Hey, don't do this. That's like bad PR." But yeah, I was actually wondering if it was going to be somewhat of a fight. Like I was like kind of curious to know if like Firecracker could be like a physical threat to Starlight. I feel like it's possible that she is, and she just like took those she ate those just so that the bad PR would land would fall upon Starlight. But it is also interesting, like why, like, I mean, this universe has already cemented that Homelander can get away with lasering a guy. Now, to be fair, that guy did throw a bottle at his son, but they are super people. I mean, you still shouldn't do it. But I mean, it is true. It is fair. Like, or sorry, I guess like you could make that argument that he did kind of do it in self-defense. I'm also curious, do people know that Homelander's son like threw that guy into the building and splattered him? Is that like well known? Or is that like known in the public, but they just like accept it because he was a criminal? I'm just saying, like, Starlight beating somebody up because they outed her abortion. And I don't know. I don't know that I necessarily buy that, like, the public would be like, how could she? Like, would they really do that necessarily? I don't know. I guess technically it is an abortion, and they were trying to like win over the conservatives of the boys. So I guess it makes sense that the conservatives wouldn't necessarily be on her side. I would be curious to know if she also loses support from like her base. You know what I mean? That would be interesting to note. But yeah. Anyway, Starlight gets confronted with her shit. A Train kind of sort of confronts his past as well because he has to get the V for Huey and whatnot, and Huey forgives him, kind of. It seems like kind of a genuine forgiveness, except he didn't necessarily do it for A Train, but he did it for himself because he doesn't want to carry the hate around because he said that, I guess. So that's interesting. Feel like, I guess, Butcher kind of did he confront his past, kind of? I feel like this whole episode has been him confronting his past. Or not this whole episode, this whole season. Is him getting visions of his past, having to confront it before he dies. By the way, Butcher, really gross. The way that there's like a little worm inside of him, constantly like crawling around. Don't like it. Like, really don't like it. Like, kind of what I mentioned in my review of the first 3 episodes. Just the fact that this season, it just doesn't it doesn't feel like the show is trying to be shocking. Like, this season, I don't know. Maybe I'm just desensitized. That could very well be it. But when I see like Butcher having a fucking worm crawling around inside of him while he's fighting the stretchy guy, it's like, yes, like, it is It is technically within the nature of the boys to like do something shocking like that, right? Where he's like, he freezes his arm and then breaks it. Like, that's awesome and shocking. But I feel like in a previous season, that moment would have been executed in such a way where it would have been like, oh shit, that's rad. Holy shit, that's so gory, dude. Radical extreme. But then when he's like fighting the guy and his eyes are like bloodshot and he's fucking dying, like, the fact that, like, I don't know, it's just the way that they are executing this stuff, the scenes like that, and even like Homelander lasering the dick, it just doesn't come off as them being try hard and edgy. It just comes off as like sad. Is it just me? Am I the only one that feels that way? Like, I will say, the one scene where it felt like they were doing something shocking for the sake of being like radical and edgy, bro, is when Sister Sage has the Deep give her a lobotomy. That's crazy. Like, I guess she says that her brain like regenerates. So she can like you could shoot her in the head, I guess, and her brain could just could die or whatever, but it would heal itself. Like, that's crazy. And how pathetic they are really going far to make the Deep just the most pathetic character. He has so little self-respect that Sister Sage, when she's at her mental best, finds him disgusting. But she finds him attractive when she gets a lobotomy. So she lobotomizes herself. And at that point is when when the Deep can have his way with her. Like, that's already kind of crazy. Like, that there are already like so many moral implications there. But she's technically consenting before it, so we don't need to get into it, actually. Who else faced their past? Oh yeah, Frenchie. He has to face his past, I guess. He finally tells the guy. You know, it's funny because one of the reactions to that whole relationship was people being like, this is kind of coming out of nowhere, that Frenchie and Kimiko aren't like actually into each other, and that he's like bisexual. What? Now, I will say, when it comes to Frenchie being bisexual, is that really a surprise to anybody? Like, I can't necessarily remember them like ever stating this or him ever like kissing a guy in previous seasons. But like, really, you're like shocked that Frenchie is bisexual? Are you really aghast at that? But I personally don't mind it, because it is true that Frenchie and Kimiko had more of a brotherly relationship than a sexual one, at least to me. Like Frenchie's obviously like so much more like mature and experienced than her, like sexually, right? and like Kimiko does have like a childlike quality to her. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not saying that it would be like immoral or anything. I just don't necessarily feel like they fit like that. But yeah, so I and by the way, people have been posting stuff on Twitter. Kind of, apparently, there's a scene in season 3 when they literally say that they're not going to be together. That they have more of a brother and sister relationship. Like, apparently that was in season 3. I'm not gonna be fake and act like, oh yeah, I remember that scene. I don't. But people have been posting that on Twitter. So apparently it also didn't necessarily come out of nowhere that they're not technically in a relationship. But yeah, so I don't mind it. And I like what they've been doing with the guy, the Jesse guy. Is that his name? Who cares? He's probably not going to be in the season anymore, because Frenchie tells him, and then the guy is about to kill him. Frenchie kind of wants him to kill him because I guess he feels guilty, but the guy's like, no, I will be the better person here. But if I see you ever again, I will kill you. So yeah, that's sad, I guess. Does anybody else face their past? I'm trying to remember. I feel like it's everybody. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought this was a very, very, very good season, very good episode of the season. Especially the Homelander stuff is probably like the best stuff of the season so far. Anthony Starr continues to wow with his villainous performance. Very tense whenever he's like trying to get the scientists to do like menial things like eat cake and play a game with him. And you never know when he's about to snap, when he's gonna tell you to do something embarrassing. Oh yeah, also like the masturbation scene. Not cool. Kind of a mean thing to do, I guess. Also, I guess another thing to address. Butcher apparently has powers still. So, cause yeah, he just completely destroys the fucking the stretchy guy. Like his skin is like plastered in different places. Pretty wacky. So I am very curious to know like what exactly his power is right now. Cause he appears to be very powerful. It's almost as if they're building up to him having a showdown with Homelander. It's almost as if that's happening. So that's very interesting. And yeah, I am also, it does also, sorry, I'll mention one other thing. It does feel like they're leading up to like an X-Men style situation where it's like supes versus humans in some sense, because he does have that, like he has that moment where he's talking with the director lady at the lab, where he's like, oh, you're wrong. I do not need to be admired by humans, because I am more than human, and my son isn't human, and we don't need your admiration. So, and that is kind of tying into what happened in Gen V, where that had a very X-Men feel near the end. So it does seem like that's where this show is sort of leading up to. It seems like there is going to be a bit of an X-Men flair to it. So yeah, well, we'll see where they go with that. But great episode. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye. 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 Goodbye.